Hello learners, and welcome to today's lesson on solving linear and exponential equations. Let's start off our lesson with a did you know. So did you know that any unknown value can be found using mathematics as long as we have an equation? Yes, if the value is real and it exists, an algebraic equation can help us in solving for that unknown value. Let's continue and talk about the objectives for this lesson. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to solve for linear equations using additive and multiplicative inverses. You'll be able to solve for exponential equations, and you'll be able to solve for word problems. Looking at our concept map for these algebraic equations, we are going to be solving linear equations, where we are going to be looking at those inverse properties. Then we are going to move on to solving exponential equations. And lastly, we are going to be solving some word problems. So, the pre-knowledge that you should have for this lesson. So you should be able to substitute a given value into an equation or an expression, solve equations by substitution, solve equations by inspection, determine the additive and multiplicative inverses, write numbers in exponential form, expand and evaluate exponents, and set up an equation. So let's look at the practice for that pre-knowledge. So let's start by solving equations by substitution. Now, let's say we are given 2x plus 3 is equals to 11. Now, I'm supposed to know what is that unknown value. So if we translate this equation into words, we would say that a number has been multiplied by 2 and then 3 was added and the answer is 11. So now we need to substitute values into the place of that unknown value so that we can find the value that is going to be substituted there in the place of x, and the answer is 11. So let's look at this table that we have formulated there. Now, if we go now and substitute values in the place of x, so we are going to start by substituting 0. So this means that this will be 2 multiplied by 0. So 2 multiplied by 0 plus 3, we know that gives us 3. So when we substitute 0, our answer is 3. So this is not the x value here because we need our answer to be 11. Now let's go right and substitute all those values. So when we substitute 1, so when we say 2 multiplied by 1 and we add 3, that answer there is 5. So we can see there that substituting 1 results in 5 as an answer. If we substitute 2, that will be 2 multiplied by 2, and then when we add 3, so that is going to give us, so 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, when we add 3, that is going to give us 7. If we say 2 multiplied by 3, that is 6, and when we add 3, that gives us 9. So it's still not the answer that we are looking for. When we say 2 multiplied by 4, and we add 3, that is going to give us 11. And we can see that we are now getting an answer of 11 when we substitute our x value to be 4. So what does this mean? What is the value of that x in this case? Now, for us to get an answer of 11, we saw that we had to substitute the value of 4. So this means that our x is equals to 4. So that was solving an equation by substitution, where we substitute different values and to make sure that we get the same answer on the other side of the equal sign. Then we are solving for equations by inspection. So by inspection is simply to look at the equation and then try and figure out what is the x value that must be there. So let's look at the first bullet there. It says that a value plus 7 is equals to 10. So what value, when we add 7, gives us an answer of 10? Now, because it is by inspection, think about it and inspect our equation. What is that value? Yes, you are absolutely correct if you are thinking of x is equals to 3, because 3 plus 7 is equals to 10. Let's look at the next one. Now the next one here, a value has been multiplied by 2, and then from that result, we subtract 1, and the answer is 9. Now let's first look at what that number can be, the whole 2x, what can it be for us to subtract 1 and then the answer is 9? If you are thinking of 10, then you are correct. This means that our 2x is equals to 10. So now we need to find out what number was multiplied by 2 for our answer to be 10. Are you thinking of 5? Because you are absolutely correct. It is 5 that was multiplied by 2 to get an answer of 10. And then when we subtracted 1 from that 10, our final answer was that 9 that is given there. What about the additive and multiplicative inverses? Now, if you remember properly, our additive inverse is the number that we need to add to the given number so that our answer is 0. So let's quickly look at those additive inverses of the following numbers. Now, the additive inverse of 4 would be negative 4. Why? Because 4 plus negative 4 gives us an answer of 0. What about negative 3? What is the additive inverse of negative 3? Yes, that is a positive 3 because a negative 3 plus a positive 3 will give us 0 as the answer. What about a 1/6? So what is the additive inverse of 1/6? If you are thinking of a negative 1/6, then you are correct because if I have a positive 1/6 and I add a negative 1/6, that is going to give me 0. And what about a negative 3/5? If you are thinking of a positive 3/5, then you are correct. Negative 3/5 or negative 3/5 plus a positive 3/5, that is going to be our 0, which means they are additive inverses of each other. What about the multiplicative inverse? The multiplicative inverse is the one that when you multiply with the given number, then the answer is supposed to give us a 1. So let's look there. The first number is 4 again. What could be the multiplicative inverse of 4? Now, if we multiply 4 with 1/4, then definitely our answer is going to be a 1. So that's the multiplicative inverse. What about the multiplicative inverse of a negative 3? Remember, our answer is supposed to be a 1, a positive 1. So what would be the multiplicative inverse of a negative 3? That will be a negative 1/3 because a negative 3 multiplied by a negative 1/3 will give us a positive 1. So what about 1/6? The multiplicative inverse of 1/6 is going to be a 6 because 1/6 multiplied by 6 will give us a 1. And then what about negative 3/5? Again, the multiplicative inverse has to give us 1 here. So a negative 3/5, if we were to multiply that with a negative 5/3, then we know that the answer there is going to be a our answer there is going to be a positive 1 when we multiply those two together. Let's quickly go to an ad break and then we'll see you just now.